Okay, calculating the molecular formula for compounds. Well, in order to do that, we needed to remember two formulas. First, that molecular formula, it's equals to N times the empirical formula. And that N, it's equals to the molecular molar mass of the compound divided by the molar mass of the empirical formula. Well, I have an example here, so I will walk through each step we need to know in order to find the molecular formula. And actually, I want to do it in two different ways. I will do the long way, where we find the empirical formula, we find N, we times N by the empirical formula. And I also will do in a short way, which a student showed me 2 semesters ago, and I think it is pretty nice. So I want to show in this video as well. So first part here is find the empirical formula. If we have the percentile, as we learned before, what we do, we convert everything to grams. We just place a percentile for grams. 3.73 grams of hydrogen and 51.83 grams of nitrogen. The next step is find the moles from each one. I look for the molecular mass of each element. I know that oxygen is 120107 grams for every 1 mole. I know that hydrogen is 1.00794 grams for every 1 mole. And I know that nitrogen, and I actually don't know nitrogen, let me look at the periodic table, 14.0067 grams for every 1 mole. I found the moles from each one of these guys. I already have on here. So for carbon, I see here carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. The moles in carbon is 3.700342 moles. On the hydrogen would be 3.700617. And for nitrogen would be 3.700371. So I know that this guy is the smallest. Now I divided everything by 3.700342, 700,342, 3.700342, and now you get 1, 1, and 1. So I know that my empirical formula, it's C1H1. I won't write it this year. CHN. So this is my empirical formula. So I found this part. Now, in order to find N, we needed the molar mass of the compound, and I actually forgot to give you. But the molar mass of this compound we're calculating on here, I write it on the top here. The molar mass is equal to 135.13 grams per mole. Now, what I'm going to do is we'll find N. So N is equals to 135.13 divided by the molecular mass of the empirical formula. Basically, I will added the molecular mass for the element carbon, the molecular mass for the element hydrogen, the molecular mass for the element nitrogen. Doing that, I will find a 27.02534. I just added the molecular mass from each one of them. If I divided this two, I get a 5. So now that I know that N is 5, and I have my empirical formula, I times N by the empirical formula. And my molecular formula will be CN, C5, H5, N5. Okay, so this is the way we usually learn in a book. We gather the percentiles. We first convert to grams, just replace the percent for grams. Find the moles, look for the smallest one, say, well, this is the smallest. We divided everything by the smallest. Find my empirical formula. Then find N, the molecular mass that will be given to you. They need to give you the molecular mass for the compound. And you divide it by the molecular mass of your empirical. Find N, and then times N by the empirical formula, and you got your molecular formula. Now, the other way, which I think is simpler and is straightforward, I will show you in a second. Okay. I have this table here. Okay, first of all, on 44.44, I convert to decimals. I divide it by 100, divided by 100, divided by 100. So 44.44 would be 0.44. This is carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. 44 grams. For hydrogen, 0.0373, right? And for nitrogen, 0.5183. Just divided by 100, 100, 100. Now, my first step here, I'll say multiply. You multiply by the molar mass, 12.0107. I find my periodic table, 1.00794 and 14.0067. Yes. Okay. Wait. No multiply. We first divide and then we multiply. So the first step, I divided everything by 100. And then I divided the number in grams by the molar mass from each one of them. And then I times by the molecular mass I have on here, 135.13. If I do 0.44, you can do it in a calculator right now, 4444 divided by 12.0107 times by 135.13, I got it at 4.999, which is close to 5. If I do a 0.0373 divided by 1.00794 times by 135.13, I got a 5.0000. Nitrogen, the same thing, 0.5183 divided by 14.0067 times by 135.13. This gives me 5.00031. Now I just say, well, carbon is 5, hydrogen is 5, and nitrogen is 5. So I got the same answer, but using a different way to do. So you can choose the way where you find the empirical formula, you find N, and then you times N by the empirical formula, or you can just do this, get your percent, find the grams from each one, divided by the molar mass that we have in the periodic table, and times by the molecular mass of the whole molecule. and you got the same value.